welcome everyone to this EASA Annual Safety Conference 2024, which will address safety, technology, and the human dimension. I'm really delighted to be with you here in Budapest. I think it's a perfect fitting venue for organizing an event like that, as it bridges the rich past of aviation together with modernity and the real innovation as well that we can see walking through the streets of this city. Hungary has been an early pioneer, an important player and contributor to the development of aviation. I hope I will have the right pronunciation. Aladar Zéli was a key figure in early Hungarian aviation. He built and flew his own flight in 1910, which is just a couple of years after the Wright brothers. And today, Hungary is hosting one of the major European carriers. I've said that on many occasions. I'm a great passionate about aviation, not just because of the aircraft, but because it connects people as well. So it provides connectivity across the entire continent, and it shows how this country has actually provided benefit, not just for aviation, but for Europe at large. We are about to embark on 2 days of presentation, panel, discussion, and some opportunities as well to network. And I really want to thank our Hungarian host for helping us, supporting us in preparing this event. In particular, the Hungarian Civil Aviation Authority, and I think there are a couple of their staff in the room as well, helping us at the entrance and so on. So many thanks to them for setting all this event and really making sure that we can enjoy those 2 days in this fantastic city. So I said it at the beginning, this event is about safety. That's called the EASA Safety Annual Conference. So we will be talking a lot about safety, but we will be talking as well about technology and the human dimension and how those three pillars interact with one another. So let me very briefly reflect on these three pillars in this short introduction, starting with safety. As you know, safety is the core of everything we do at EASA. It is why I decided to join the agency. This is, I think, a fundamental element of why aviation is what it is today. Aviation wouldn't be what it is without the safety dimension, without this drive to make safety always better. And it is the result of decades of collaboration, of learning, of feedback loops, of addressing risks proactively. It does not happen by chance or by coincidence. It's a real effort and a real collaborative effort. What I wanted to say about safety before maybe starting this event is that I think we can never be complacent about it. I think all professionals of aviation, we all know that. I don't know how many of you in the room have gone through their career through a major incident or an accident. I've gone through that personally. I can tell you there's a before and an after. There's a whole world that collapses once you are involved in this type of things. All your beliefs, all the certainties that you have in the system, all of a sudden they disappear when you face the justice, when you face the police during those events. And I think this is something we all have to keep in mind, because this is what we never want to be. Once you've gone through that, you never want to go there again. I'm sorry to spoil a bit the ambience starting the meeting and starting the conference, but I think this is really important that we all keep that in mind, because this is the way we balance the discussion when it comes to looking at the other two pillars. Are we complacent today? I'm asking myself the question. I've taken this job a couple of months ago. And it's very hard to answer. And to a certain extent, I feel uncomfortable sometimes about it. I just pick one example amongst others. I've been attending, I think, since I've joined, about a good half dozen of high-level events, meetings, conferences, and so on, talking about how the summer will be in Europe, how the summer is in Europe, how the summer was in Europe, regarding the traffic increase, regarding the fluidity, the delays, the difficulties of operations, and so on. And not in any of these events, I've been asked, was it safe? Is it going to be safe? Is it safe? And to me, it's quite even shocking to a certain extent that we have army of consultants all over the place digging numbers in terms of how many minutes a flight was delayed, and we don't asking ourselves the basic question, was it a safe summer? So that's typically the target I set for ourselves and for the organization, that next year we have a view on how safe the summer was before we compute all the data, the reports and so on, and we come up with an answer on that, let's say 2 years after, which is usually what happens in relation to safety. So my point is to say, complacency starts from here. It starts from being able to question constantly whether the system is safe. What does it mean? Are we doing enough to keep it safe? I think that to a large extent, we have as well to consider that it's not because it was safe yesterday that it is safe today and that it will be safe tomorrow. We live in a world that is changing. The skill set, the mindset, the economical pressures, there are plenty of dimension factors which are impacting the system directly. There are as well growing risks in aviation in the domain of cybersecurity, for instance, in the domain of GNSS. We had some very recent trends from that standpoint. And that's why we have always to question how are we keeping the system safe together. And the thing is that none of us can do that alone. Whether you are a regulator, whether you are an authority, an airport, an airline, a manufacturer, whoever you are in this room, an operator, a pilot, whoever you are, you cannot do that alone. And that's why as well this collective thinking that we are going to have in these 2 days is so important. I move then to technology, which is the second pillar of the discussion. I think in aviation, we used to see, as in many other domains, technology as an enabler, as a way to provide solutions to our problems. And it is, and I'll come back to that in relation to both safety and sustainability. But I think today we have to see as well technology as a driver. I think today, not considering technology as a driver to innovation, to changes, to improvements is irresponsible. It is a mindset that we have to change in our domain as well, to consider technology upfront for what it can offer. There are many examples in our daily lives about it. I mean, from automotive industry, where there is a question, do you build the car around the battery and the computer, or do you do it the other way around? Because again, technology is not just an enabler. There are examples in the space domain, I mean, where you see what's going on. I mean, the market as it is today is completely different as it was 8 years ago because it was driven by technology, not because it was trying to address problems or because it was taken as an enabler. And this is going to happen in aviation as anywhere else in each domain of the economy. And we have to get a grip on that. Of course, it is as well a fantastic enabler. First of all, talking about sustainability, which is probably the biggest challenge we all have to face in the next coming years and decades. Decarbonization of aviation is not going to happen without technological solutions. And that's where it brings this enabling dimension, which has to be safe. And this is as well why we are taking care of that and dealing with this as part of the work of EASA, being involved early on in the development, in as well assessing whether those technology will be certifiable. I don't know if it's an English word, but it's the ability to certify at some point those technology. It's very essential that we take a look at it, not at the end of the process, but at the start of the process, together with industry, together with the innovators. I think as well, it is an enabler of safety. It brings new elements that we can bring to different components of the aviation system, and in particular to the cockpit. If you look at the evolution of the cockpit over the last decades, it has evolved quite a lot. The degree of automation, the degree of information provided has increased progressively, with an objective which was to improve the safety level, progressively to address a number of risk elements and to start bringing mitigation through technology, through information, through automation into the management of the flight. There's been recently a lot of discussion about the so-called MCO solution and the potential move from the situation we know today in a cockpit with 2 pilots to phases of the flight with 1 pilot handling actually the aircraft. And I think we took it to a certain extent from the wrong angle. There is a perception that we are aiming at finding a solution for our problems that does not exist. Actually, we do have today problems in the cockpit in relation to particular safety situation, incapacitation, fatigue, and so on. And we have today the possibility to bring in technology that can mitigate those risks. And this is what is really important. And of course, it is the purpose of the industry to come up with new product, with new innovation. At EASA, we should be neutral about that. That's not our purpose to promote any type of technology or change to the concept of operation. Our purpose is to make sure that this is safe and that this brings additional safety benefit to the system as we know it today. And this is on this way that we're going to work. So you will have discussion around this topic in the coming hours. There is a panel that will work around those elements. But it's very clear as well that our endeavor is going in this direction to make sure that whatever it's bring is safe and brings safety benefits at the end of the day to the operations. What I've said as well about technology, bringing benefits in terms of being an enabler or as well a driver for change. Whatever it is, at the end of the day, this does not happen just for the sake of technology. Technology for the sake of technology is not what we're trying to achieve. At the end, technology has to fulfill a purpose, and this purpose is, of course, to use this technology wisely. And this is when the last pillar of the discussion comes into place. How are we going to use this technology? And the human dimension that is essential on the interaction between operations, technology, and so on, is a key element that we have to consider upfront in the discussion. And that's why I don't think there is a specific order. We can always put safety first, but then when it comes to technology and human dimension, the two have to go together and have to be considered together. You can have a very sophisticated technology, but the human element on how you be using it will always be central to it. One anecdote, maybe when I joined EASA, I was really surprised sometimes by how picky we can be, and not just us, I mean, collectively about the wording of some regulation, of some guidance material, means of compliance, and so on. Very picky on each and every word. And to me, it's very surprising because I'm coming from operations, and I can tell you the world works differently than it is on the paper. I mean, no matter whatever you do, whatever you train people and so on, something will happen differently than what is in the paper at some point. And this is why the human dimension is so essential, because it is for the good as well. It is an essential element, an essential component of the safety chain to be able to make the right decision at the right time. And no machine, no technology can do that and replacement of the human. So human dimension will be here in aviation for decades. And I'm convinced that it is part of the safety equation as well. And we have to be very vigilant on how we combine those elements together. Again, the idea is that I'm not going to cover all the topics you'll be discussing or will be discussing in those 2 days. But just to finish on the human dimension, I think there is a key element of it, which is the safety culture. The safety culture is something we have to keep an eye on, including when it comes to how we use technology, how you keep the safety culture at the top of the agenda. It's part of the fact that today as well, we are all transiting through a new generation of professionals of aviation that do not have necessarily the same experience, the same perspective on things. And it's not because we had a very safe operation, a very good safety culture yesterday, that we bring in new people in there with new experience, new way of thinking, that they will behave in the same way. And even if you don't do it voluntarily, even if you don't dilute the safety culture, the dilution can happen by itself. So I think this is as well where we have to act collectively to keep this safety culture alive, to talk about it, to bring experienced people, bringing the new generation on board of this safety culture, and that we have to protect it as well from all sorts of risks that can be faced in our domain in relation to economic pressure, social pressure, whatsoever. No matter what happens, this safety culture is actually, at the end of the day, what guarantees as well the safety of aviation. So I'm stopping here. The idea, of course, will be for you to discuss all that, maybe to contradict me as well. I mean, don't hesitate to do that in the conversation if you think it's required. I think this is why we want to engage with you during those 2 days, to have this feeling of what is the pulse of the system today, whether, again, you are operators, regulators, building aircraft, designing aircraft, producing aircraft, maintaining aircraft, and so on. We are sticking together when it comes to safety, and I think we should speak about safety with one voice, because We are all professionals of aviation. When we start to have diverging view, we lose the passengers, we lose the public, and nobody understands what happens. So we don't want to get there. And again, my key word to conclude is collaboration. I think this is really the spirit I would like to give to this event, that we do that in a collaborative manner, that we listen to the arguments of one another, but that at the end of the day, we try to build as well how we perceive the way forward when it comes to safety, technology, and the human intervention in our sector. With this, I leave you with that, and I want to thank you all again for attending this event. I thank again the organizers who really helped us, the team at EASA, of course, who put all the agenda together. Many thanks to them, and I leave you with all the panelists and all the discussion, and I hope you will enjoy those today. Thanks a lot.